Okay, so I just saw the film Theater Camp at the AFI Silver, and I had my reservations coming into it. Mainly, not. I didn't really have reservations today when I went and saw it. I kind of saw it on the whim, but I did have my reservations leading up to it. Um, when I first saw the trailers and things like that, and I think a lot of it had to do was with my own kind of sense of regret. I always thought that, well, I always hated theater kids and theater camp and theater up until like a couple months ago. And then I was like, damn, I really should have gone to theater camp. Well, the great thing about this movie is that kind of reinforces that I didn't miss out on much, but not my scene, but it's a very, very solid indie film. It's funny. Some of the jokes, there's a lot of jokes. It's delivered at, it's not at fast pace. It's more, the jokes kind of spread out throughout the film. Not all of them land, um, but they're not bad enough to give you like a bad taste, a little aftertaste or whatever. Um, they kind of like, oh yeah, that was a joke there, didn't land. We're moving on, and that's really it. It didn't ruin the movie for me. Um, the characters are kind of one dimensional. They're very. It's characters we've all seen before, basically. It is character arcs we've all seen before as well. You know. I'm sorry, I don't remember any of their names, but for example, the one who plays Troy, the son of Joan. I mean, we've seen that kind of like confident dumb guy goes in and fucks things up so many times. And then the redemption arc, things like that. We've all seen that. And same goes with some of the other characters. But again, it didn't ruin the movie. It was a very enjoyable, fun little movie. And I will say though, the kind of dynamic between I think her name was Rebecca and Amos was a bit contrived, I think, in my opinion, because it didn't really. There was no point to it, you know. It's kind of like, oh yeah, they've been friends since 15 years or however the fuck how long, and all of a sudden she leaves, and it's revealed that she, skipped Juilliard for him, which is crazy. Girl, don't fucking do that. Um, I mean, I fucking wouldn't have done that, even for a person I had a crush on. Um, but he's just too busy being a very unlikable character. There is no gray to his performance. He's just simply and not a pleasant character, not someone you root for. He's always moaning, complaining, and we don't really see why should we be rooting for this guy, you know. And maybe you're not supposed to, but him being one of the central characters, I don't know, that just felt unfinished. That whole dynamic, and because again, it's supposed to create a sense of conflict, things like that. Especially when she leaves without finishing the song, and then they're like, "Oh my god, how are we gonna do a finale?" But then everything works out in the end, anyways. So I don't know. The whole conflict seemed forced, and just it didn't really work, in my opinion. Um, I will say though that we really have hit like the era of mockumentaries, where whereas this one though it is a mockumentary. It's supposed to be like this documentary or whatever, but it didn't. necessarily commit. It had a few moments in the beginning where there's on-screen text and set up like a documentary, and they're supposed to be following this lady, and then she goes into a coma, and it just follows the chaos that ensues. And then at the end, we see it's also like a documentary, but in the whole, like 90% of it, like a bell curve, right? The whole like middle 90%, there's nothing there to really play off this mockumentary vibe, and so you just kind of forget that it's supposed to be a mockumentary. You just think it's a movie. I mean, of course, there's the like the office shots, the zoomed in, handheld, little motion shots that cut to the characters when something happens. But I feel like the whole mockumentary thing wasn't really executed. They started to but they didn't commit, and I think that's one of the drawbacks is that it there is no point really for it to be a mockumentary, you know. It's kind of just to get a couple jokes in, which again I don't care. I'm nitpicking at this point. It's just there. It's a lot to like, It's a very heartwarming movie, and it's very beautifully shot. The color grading is fabulous. The film grain, I love film grain. I'm not even sure if it's shot digitally or on film, and but it just looks beautiful. The kids are amazing. You really believe their performance, that they're these the crazy theater kids, and really most of the cast you believe except for again Amos. His performance is the weakest out of all of them, but it doesn't it doesn't fully take away from the movie. The movie's still a very fun time, and it's a light movie. There's not much to say. It's a solid, funny indie movie, and you know it's not deep with there's no like deep message. There's no like things you have to analyze or whatever. It's, you go there, you have a very fun time. Uh, you see, these people really work at it. Really, you can really buy the fact that they love theater, that they're theater people, and it's just beautiful seeing them all work like that, and especially, oh fuck, Glenn, Glenn's actor, amazing, and yeah, well, I mean, you could see it's predictable. It's predictable. Again, like we've seen all these character arcs before, but I just want to say shout out to Glenn and shout out to Glenn's actor. That was a I'd say like almost like a stealing performance there. You come out of it thinking about him and his amazing performance. Man's gotten too wicked, you know the vibes. But I don't really have anything to say.